yours, but I need to go back here.
Hello, friends. I'm live. I can hear myself
I
talking.
need to refresh this.
So I'm going to close these windows so I don't hear myself. Hello, friends. Welcome to Embody Your Purpose, 3 steps to reduce stress, burnout, and anxiety. Whether you are here with me live in Zoom or on LinkedIn Live, it's such an honor to have you here, especially on this long weekend for a lot of people. So for you to be taking time out of your schedule is infinitely important as we step into this new earth of embodying body, mind, and spirit. And so if you are a working professional, you probably spend a lot of time thinking about your mind. You might have started doing little meditation practices. You might be in therapy. You might be on antidepressants. There's any level that you might be on working with your mind and on also the body, right? We're always trying to eat more healthy. We're always trying to work out, take care of our body. And so these are 2 very, very important parts to a happy life. And then we get to integrate the spirit aspect into that, into who we are as a being, not as a religion or as a belief system, but just as a being of light, as someone that is part of the unified field, right? Because I will be talking about science and spirituality. And so we're going to talk about body, mind, and spirit and how we can really take that into our professional life to make us happier. More health, happiness, and freedom is the name of the game. So I'm going to start just reading my own little bio for you, and then I'm going to hop into a little bit of an origin story, just so you can get a little bit of idea of how I ended up here on this platform speaking on this topic matter. Before I do that, I'm also going to be opening a little ceremonial space using some things like sage, because I am a ceremonialist. I am here to talk about the spiritual aspects of things and using energy of the unified field to transform our lives. So I'm going to bring that in just as the beginning. And that is a way of, that's a type of prayer, and it's a type of an intention. And there's many, many ways to go about prayer and intention. So this is just one way. And actually, I'm going to do that first before I even read my bio, because reading your own bio is a thing. So if I do this first, then I'll be embodied by spirit and I won't be reading my bio. I'll be reading Lynn's bio because I will be in my I am. Get it? I kid. All right, here we go. Oh, we have a friend. Admit. Miss Trish Kane from Healerverse is gracing our presence. We're just about to open ceremonial space. I'm so glad you're here. Great spirits of the north, entrance to the mental realm and the element of air. Please allow me to use my words and my breath to guide the minds of all the beautiful people watching into a higher way of living, into a higher vibrational state, perfectly aligned with their higher self. Calling in the animal kingdom, the 4-leggeds, the creepy crawlers, the swimmers, the winged ones, and look at the, like, my mohawk's going out because it's like my monk self popping in. This is the way my mind works. Anyway, calling in the animal kingdom, calling in the dragon energy, the dragon tribe energy, the mythical creatures that we work with when we talk about the spirit realm. Thank you so much to the north. Allow us to bring your love and loyalty and lightness of the animal kingdom. Thank you, north. Great spirits of the east, entrance to the spiritual realm and the element of fire. Here we're rising like Phoenix into a new way of being, into a new way of life, into what we've heard referred to as the new earth. And this is a higher vibrational frequency. This is moving from the 3rd dimension into the 4th dimension, into the 5th dimension. This is our spiritual birthright. And so in the East, we call in the human kingdom, all of the ancestors of all of the races, all of the planet. And hey, let's just go far beyond not just human race, but our ancestors maybe from even more beyond than we've considered. So thank you to the East. Please be present here with your wisdom and love and light. Thank you. Great spirits of the South, entrance to the spiritual realm, or the emotional realm, and the element of water. Here we're learning to go with the flow, to be with the flow, to let our emotions flow. And this is a very important part of reducing stress, of reducing anxiety, and being authentic. Not everyone's a crier, but I guarantee there's some criers out there who have been holding back this emotion for, in some cases, years. And this is what bottles up and causes anxiety when we aren't able to fully express our authenticity. So letting the emotions flow in whichever way is appropriate for any individual, that all is welcome here. Calling in the plant kingdom of the South, the trees, the shrubs, the grasses, the flowers, and of course our medicine plants. We're so grateful for all of the food, all of the shelter, all of the beauty, all of the oxygen, the ways that I love the plants. The way that the plants enhance our lives is just endless. And so we're so grateful for you. Thank you, South. I do Zooms all the time, and I swear to God, my mohawk never pops in and out like this. I'm just saying. Spirit has a way with technology. I do go back and forth though between the mohawk and the monk vibe. Anywho, warrior and monk, right? We're all a little bit of all of it. Calling in the West, the entrance to the physical realm and the element of earth. And here we're learning to ground in this physical form. We're learning, those of us that identify as being possibly just on the first few steps of a spiritual path, others, and nobody's on the first few steps. Everybody watching this, it doesn't matter what your background is in this lifetime, you have lifetimes of experience in spiritual mastery that you are going to be integrating and bringing into fruition to blend science and spirituality in this lifetime. And so that is why you're watching this right now. So congratulations for being here, but it's not easy. It's very dense here in this third dimension. So as you become more of a spiritually awakened being, the heart opens, and being in this dense physical, capitalistic, greedy third dimension can be a challenge. And so that's why we have the spirit realm. And that's why we have the rocks, the crystals, the gems, the sands to bring in that grounding. And we can get really deep here in the science and the spirituality of the crystal realms, because my little background here obviously has some crystals in it. I have lots of crystals in my real life. I love crystals. I'm sure some of you wear crystals in your jewelry. You know, some of the first signs of a star seed or an awakening spiritual being is a love of crystals. But crystals have serious scientific significance, right? I believe it's the compression of crystals in an ultrasound that make all of these images. Crystals are in some of our most profound technologies. And so we're very grateful for this energy that is going to bring us into higher states of technological advancement. So thank you to the West. And in the center of it all, the mixed metals and ores, which we're so grateful because they're allowing us to speak and connect on this camera. Mother Earth, Pachamama Gaia. Oh, and the mixed metals and ores want to also point out, like, all the VR, all that's coming, all of this technology that us earthlings are really excited about. We have to call on these mixed metals and ores to make it all happen. Mother Earth, Pachamama Gaia, we're so grateful to be here. And, you know, I'm smiling, and I just have to be authentic because I'm feeling authentic joy right now. And I can still acknowledge that there's some crazy weather going on. And, you know, we have some friends on this call that are living in Florida and have just gone through some really, really intense weather patterns. And Mother Earth's manifestation, there's many layers unfolding, but it is the chaos on realms and realms of realm. It's the chaos within ourselves. It's the chaos within the collective, is the chaos that's coming into earth. And these are these hurricanes. And so we're so grateful that everyone who made it through, and that everything can be rebuilt. It is just material, because as we're going to be talking about, it's all 99% empty space. And so when we are harnessed with our spirit, we can make it through tremendous challenge. And that's going to be a major theme, because we're reducing stress, burnout, and anxiety. So of course, if you are in one of these dramatic weather places, these are primary for many people, Mother Earth is going to be a primary stressor because it raises some existential crisis. And so thank you to Mother Earth for being our most valuable teacher and teaching us the ways and holding space for us. And may we continue to honor and love you, and she love us as we could get to know this earth more as a being with a life and an energy to her versus just this rock that we live on. Thank you, Mother Earth. It's so deep because it's the mother. It's like the feminine that we've totally just reduced to this rock. You guys know what I'm talking about. Father Sky, Star Nation, Star Beings, we invite in all the beautiful ancestors of anybody watching, all of the spirit guides of anyone watching. I love to call in the Ascended Master Realm, the Archangels, and then, of course, all the way up to the highest source, God, Creator, Universe. I really do believe we are all one unified field, bringing through our own unique I am presence. And so there is no separation at all between religions and beliefs at the very, very highest level. And so my greatest desire and joy is to bring that unity of consciousness here in this moment. So thank you. We are space opened, and now we can dive in. Thank you all for being here. Oh, I have to introduce myself. Okay, following my notes. Oops, I don't want to share this yet. Actually, yes, I'll have this on while I read my bio. I'm going to just read it as if I'm fully embodied and that Lynn is a separate person, just because that's how it's written. Lynn is an aerospace engineer turned spiritual guide, quantum coach, and founder of the Purpose Embodiment Method. She empowers the heart-centered and scientifically minded to harness their divine purpose in the corporate realm with wellness, purpose clarity, and authentic leadership. She has decades of experience in cutting-edge engineering at NASA and Boeing, coupled with 15 years and hundreds of thousands of dollars of investments delving into spiritual technologies. She truly possesses a unique blend of scientific rigor and spiritual embodiment. She's a Kundalini Reiki master and has approximately 20 purification sweat lodges, 3 enlightenment intensives, 9 10-day Vipassanas, 6 months in the Sacred Valley of Peru, and much, much more to her spiritual embodiment credits. Beyond her academic and spiritual advisors, Lynn holds multiple somatic movement certifications and dazzles as a dancer, fire spinner, and somatic movement specialist, and has performed in circuses in North and South America. And as part of her purpose, she appeared on the hit TV show, So You Think You Can Dance. What? Who is that person? So here I am about to tell you a little bit about reality. So 3 things that we need to keep in mind moving forward with this presentation is a new form of reality, nothing of which is new to you, but we forget the simple truth sometimes. So the first is your mind. Our subconscious mind is responsible for 90% of our processing power beyond our conscious awareness. That means our actions, our desires, our motivations are largely driven by our unconscious. We're not even aware. Even if you're becoming aware, you still are unaware of 90%. That's the beautiful thing of this flowering lotus, right? It's always this onion. There's always more layers. The physical reality of 99.99% of your physical body and everything in existence is empty space. It is energy. This is at the atomic level, every atom. And so when we start looking at the world this way, we start to experience the world differently. And then finally, spirit exists. Now, we could, you'll come out through this workshop maybe believing that to be true. I'm sure many of you already do, but spirit is a experiential thing, right? It's like you can believe in it, which creates it and makes it real, or you can have an embodied experience of its reality. And I'm a big fan of inspiring everyone into the embodied experience of it. And so I would like to take a moment before we dive into the content just to share a little bit about myself and my background and how I ended up talking. And I hope you find this entertaining. I'm going to try to keep it to like 10 minutes because it is a roller coaster. And so the moral of the story, right? The reason we share these stories is to be relatable, to share how I'm no different than you. The journey that I'm going on, you are also going on. And parts of this story are going to seem completely unrelatable. In fact, maybe most of it is going to seem completely unrelatable. But the point is, the stress, the burnout, and the anxiety that would come from living the experience I'm about to describe, one could imagine would be kind of a lot. And I was blessed to have found tools very, very early on in my journey that carried me through. And so you are showing up at this point in your journey for possibly some of what I have to be a tool to help you through your unique expression of stress, burnout, and anxiety. Because we are all living the same story. We are all avatars within the same unified field who are having a unique experience, but often with very similar emotional expressions. So with that, here I am, happy, healthy, and free. I see my friend Tanya here from the Caribbean living down in St. Croix with me. And she's actually a current client. So I didn't know you were going to be here. I might have to pull you up a little later if you're open to it. So we'll see. Okay. So, and I'm aligned with my purpose and my profession. And that is the point here. So many of us are so separate of what our purpose is and what our profession is. We think that they're separate. And this leads us feeling torn in two. So if you are watching, if in the chat, I love to get like the word split. If you relate to this idea of sometimes in the world feeling this split between who you feel like you grew up to be, who you were created to be in your family's eyes, and then some deeper sense of who you're meant to be. So now I'm living my authentic purpose as a healer, which I never expected. I'm dancing, which was what I always wanted to do when I was a little girl. It was my only dream when I was 6 years old. And now it's all coalesced into what really is my best dream life. I'm able to serve people at a high, high level. The impact that I see in the people I work with, both kids doing aerial. I mean, I get to teach kids to be in the circus. What? And then on the adult level, really, really deep, profound healing. It's just been such a blessing. But it wasn't always this way. Back in 2008, I was an aerospace engineer, and had been 5 years in this career, and I just wasn't feeling it, guys. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it any other way. The key moment is I woke up one day and had this thought, only 30 years till I can retire. And in that moment, I had a level of self-awareness where I said, I realized like, who is the one that can't do this? And I realized it was me, that I could not do this. And very quickly, my life started rearranging. So I would call that moment of awareness an awakening. And there was nothing to do in that moment, but just being aware that I wasn't going to be able to do what I was doing. I wasn't going to be an engineer for 30 more years and feel that way. So something had to change. And that intention was a prayer to the universe. Because before I knew it, things started forming in my favor to set me on a different path. One of those very simple things was a book called Eckhart Tolle's Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. And the best thing I can describe is when I heard the title of that book, I was like, oh yeah, purpose. Like that's what I'm looking for. Because I didn't know what I wanted to do or what I was supposed to do or what I would do, just that it wasn't what I was doing. And so I continued to do what I was doing and started seeking my purpose. through reading this book, and it really opened my eyes that, oh, I was the one that was getting frustrated in traffic. I was the one creating all of the suffering in my life. This led me to doing meditations. It led me eventually to exploring some plant medicines. And it really coalesced one day when I had what can only be described as a spiritual awakening. It was a very mystical experience. And I don't think the purpose of this story is to go into the depths of this mystical experience, because, as I said, there were plant medicines involved. And the program that I've developed over the past 15 years is to allow people to experience these profound shifts in consciousness without plant medicine, which is amazing, because that stuff just isn't for everyone. That's just a reality. It's intense. So I don't blame it not being for everyone. So as I started this process, one of the very first things I found, even before the plant medicine, was Reiki. My first experience with Reiki was very simple, just people around. It was called a women's spiritual pursuit. And it was people, like me living in Seattle that were curious about things. So we learned about tarot one week, chakras, all these things I'd never heard of growing up as like a Minnesota loose Catholic, like not a super strict Catholic, but just like, Christmas, Easter, and my weekly religion classes for my parents. So I get Reiki, and I remember not that when I first got it, I can't tell you if I felt anything or not. I was kind of giggling, and she's like, "Do you feel anything?" I was like, "I don't know." Like, and I wasn't skeptical. I was open, but I wasn't a person that was going to make it up and be like, "Oh my God, yes, I totally see the light. I feel so many good vibes." It wasn't like that. I was like, "I don't know, maybe." And she's like, "Well, I can feel it." So the next day at work, then I'm in a meeting at Boeing with a bunch of PhDs and very intelligent people, and we're doing a brainstorming session. And the only thing I can describe my experience is I saw the energy differently. So someone would share an idea, and instead of just hearing their idea, I sensed the enthusiasm, or I sensed the ego. I sensed the energy behind their statements and behind their energy. And it was completely amusing to me, is the best thing that I could say. And part of me knew that it was because of the Reiki. This gave me a sense of purpose. Not that like, oh, I'm going to go be a Reiki master, I'm going to heal people with Reiki. It was like, this is something's happening that's interesting to me, something that I didn't experience before. And it's getting me, I'm amused, I'm excited, like I'm enjoying my day a little bit more because there's something magical happening. And this led me to get a level 1, a level 2, and eventually a level 3 Reiki. Now, keep in mind, this was back in 2008. And so I would be on my rake at Reiki or my break at Boeing and doing like Reiki on myself. I had these little crystals I would put on my chakras, and I would just sit in the little courtyard. And, I knew it was kind of odd to be sitting out at Boeing meditating, but I wasn't oming or doing, I was just sitting in the sun as far as anyone was concerned. But I really did keep it to myself because I didn't think people would get it. I didn't really get it. If I'm being completely honest, I didn't get it either. I just knew that I was called to do this stuff and be around this stuff. But my friends were like other engineers from what else? We got Amazon, a bunch of people from Microsoft. And so it just wasn't, what people were doing back then. But I continued. I was constantly doing it on myself. I was on my spiritual journey of wanting to know myself deeper. All right. So now I'm doing Reiki on myself. As you're going to learn later in the talk, this means that on a cellular level, the understanding I have about this work now, I did not have back then. Back then, it was some sort of faith, I guess, or just a pull. I mean, I don't know why I was so called to just this Reiki. And like I said, I was primarily doing it on myself, not on other people. But what was happening is my body was upgrading. There was a cellular shift happening so that as my life was about to start taking off in a very bizarre and unexpected turn, that my body was being prepared. And I was also meditating at that time, and my mind was being prepared for a lot of stress, what could have been a lot of stress and a lot of burnout and a lot of anxiety. So I'm just going to I wrote it down because I wanted to like just go over it quick about what happened over the course of about the next 10 years of the constant uprooting, not really having money. I was doing I ended up leaving Boeing. This is where we're going here. I ended up leaving Boeing and going on this crazy journey. And I was definitely like doing gig work. Like spirit was just making it happen for me somewhere. It was so bizarre that I almost can't remember the details anymore, is the best way that I can describe it. And I could almost get emotional and be dramatic and be like, the spiritual journey, although sounds exciting, had a little PTSD quality to it of like just intensity. But however, again, the point I'm trying to make is that when you are doing this work on your body to raise your vibration, you can handle so much more than you ever thought you could. So I ended up leaving my job and going to live at a retreat center in Hawaii. And this is going to speak a little bit to my training as a spiritual guide too, because ultimately I am hoping to save some of you years of work in uncovering who you are destined to become. And that's part of the reason of this list as well, but it's just a lot. So I was living in Hawaii at a retreat center where I was able to dance, and I was like working in like housekeeping. But it was a sustainable community. So I was learning about cooking organic vegetarian food. I was learning about how to live in community. I was learning about compostable toilets, and I was dancing all the time. There was a clothing optional pool. I started to fall in love with my body, which is a whole other side story of insecurity I had with my body. And we'll probably tap into a little of that later. From Hawaii, after 6 months there, I come back from it to go back to my hometown in Minnesota with the parents, and then I went to Portland. I ended up, and this was like the 401k is about to run out here. Like, I don't know what's happening anymore. And I ended up living in a Buddhist retreat center and kind of serving there while meditating, and eventually did an 11-day trip to Peru on 11/11/11 and participated in 10 days of very intense ceremonies and rites of the monarchy down in Peru and received that level of upgrade. And then okay, so then meditation. Then I ended up coming back. I'm getting everything confused. Oh, off grid, yes. So then I ended up in Sedona. Then I went back to Peru for another 6 months. And that's where I delved even deeper. I believe I got some more monarchy rites when I was out there, studied with a shaman, became very good friends with a shaman, and actually lived in the house where San Pedro and ayahuasca ceremonies were happening regularly. I wasn't partaking in them a whole lot because I had come to realize that it just wasn't really my medicine. Lots of training happened down there. And that's where I started initiating my first Reiki student and really stepped into my power as a Reiki master versus someone that had just gotten Reiki initiations along the way. I was feeling ready to fully more embody. So I come back from Peru, and then the magic happens, my friends. Now, my low in the story was at the end of my 6 months in Peru. I was broke. I was at Machu Picchu just journaling. I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm abundant, I am free, like pages and pages. And I'm running down the mountain saying, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, just like really praying for a miracle because I had no clue what was next. And I ended up having to go home because the path just wasn't laying itself out in Peru. But it wasn't before I sat 2 10-day Vipassanas down there. And that really catalyzed things that when I got home to Minnesota, things fell into place very magically. And I started working at Lifetime Fitness and doing Reiki initiations and Reiki classes in their yoga section. And Lifetime Fitness is like kind of a big chain in the Midwest. And that is where I met a lovely man named David. And this is where the performer and the circus star was born because this is now the house that David built, because this is a little bit of a story of manifestation. It's very difficult to describe what happens when you meet a soul contract. This person has since passed on, and I've never talked about him in a workshop before, so there's some emotion coming up, I guess. David funded me purely out of the goodness of his heart for about 5 years so that I could continue to follow my purpose. And through him, I established my nonprofit, and I ended up going back to Portland, doing tons of performing there, moving on to Lake Tahoe, where I ended up setting up my nonprofit and ended up doing a lot of training in aerial, which was kind of unexpected. Then we went to Santa Fe, New Mexico. There, I again trained in circus. So I had this person financially supporting me. He could see my light. He knew, he trusted my vision, and he trusted me to just do what I needed to do, which was building a nonprofit that I still have, but never took off in his lifetime. But it was like my way of training my body, of my purpose, of shining my light, and what would become in the future of training kids to do this and tapping back to my childhood dream of being a dancer. Then we go to San Diego, then we go to St. Croix. Okay, so here we are in St. Croix, and about 2 years ago, I really started to see some of my clients having truly miraculous healings. After I had taken the time to cultivate myself, I realized I had become a really powerful healer. Who knew? I didn't plan it that way. It just happened. I knew that I had something when I had a friend of mine actually from childhood reach out to me because she knew that I had been doing just like just like healing work to people that came to me. I wasn't like advertising myself. I didn't have packages. I was just doing healing to people that wanted healing. And she shared with me about how she had been sexually abused and molested and then also raped as an adult. And I know I kind of just jumped in there, but this is what we're dealing with on our planet, right? There's so much heavy stuff happening. And so I had this idea of what is now called the purpose embodiment method to do these sessions on her. It was at the time 3 sessions. And after the 3 sessions, she was completely healed from the nightmares that she had. So she had been happily married, but the intimacy wasn't there because she couldn't connect because of these traumas. And through doing the work that I did with her with these traumas, she was healed. It was amazing. So from there, I created a more in-depth program, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the basics about it, or the core teachings about it today is the purpose. So that is my origin story. Truth be told, I haven't done a workshop in a while, and so I did not prepare it as well as I could, but I hope it was relatable, because the point of the origin story is to allow you to see yourself in me. And I guess I'm kind of taking this back way approach that you don't have to do all that. There are people that have invested lifetimes into crystallizing some very deep teachings in simple ways so that we can all just not have to do all the crazy stuff and enjoy our lives and be happy. Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts. Thank you for listening to me. Okay, so like I mentioned, we have a thing called the purpose embodiment method, and it is a body, mind, and spirit approach to wellness. So we take stress in the mind and we create mental wellness. We take burnout in the body, like I just can't do this another day. Can I get a hand raise if you felt, maybe in the past month, in the past week, like I literally can't do this another day, right? We've all felt this way. And so you always can do it another day. We always do it another day. And it's because we do have this energy that we can harness. And when we're even aware of it, it gets even easier and easier. And then last, this spirit. So this anxiety is when something's not right in the world. That's all anxiety is. That just means you're not aligned with your spirit. When you're fully aligned with your spirit, you are embodied, you are a Christ type figure, you are an authentic leader, and you're shining. So we're going to start talking about the mind. Now, this is a LinkedIn Live here, right? And in the past, I've worked a lot with trauma survivors, and I realize people in corporate America, you are trauma survivors. You don't see it that way yet, and I'm not trying to force you into owning something that's not real for you, but this work is coming to you now because it is 100% for you. And so this is a slide that kind of is going to take this and crystallize it into some nice hard data that we like when we're talking about science. So apparently workplace stress is 77% of workers relate to having workplace stress in the past month. 57% indicated experiencing negative impacts because of work-related stress and also workplace burnout. So we have 31% emotional exhaustion, 26% can't do their very best. I have these on numbers: a desire to keep to themselves, a desire to quit, lower productivity, irritability or anger with coworkers, and feeling ineffective. Let's get a little engagement, friends. In the chat, drop one of these numbers if you felt any of these, let's say in the past 30 days. So 1 is emotional exhaustion. I'm going to pull up the chat here because we got to see what's going on. There's so many buttons though, and I don't know where they are. It's not popping up. Okay, well, I'm going to, when the chat pops up, I'll see it in the corner, I think. And maybe the chat's just for later. I'll be checking the chat later. So drop in what you're feeling. But the point is like we all have been there. It is a very common thing that we feel, this burnout. There we go. It came up. 5, blah, 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 blah. Yes. Lower productivity. I identify with that too. All right. So this is a common thing. You are not alone. That's what you need to remember. You know, especially in the LinkedIn world, we all have this tendency to want to show up perfect, want to show up professional, wanting to show up having it all together. And let me tell you, I see you. I know what's going on in all of our hearts. And I kind of try to show that because I'm one that you may have seen a LinkedIn Live where I come on or recorded where I'm not afraid to have emotion. I'm not afraid to cry. That is the authentic leadership that we're talking about. So we're all going through it. And this is just an image I'm sure many of you have seen before, that our conscious mind is our logical, our critical thinking, our willpower, and our short-term memory. It's the things that we know. But what's really running the show is this subconscious mind, our beliefs. We are going to learn about the beliefs that we've gotten from childhood. We've got the beliefs of our ancestors. We've got so many self-limiting beliefs that even if you are a positive person, depending on who your parents were, a lot of the programming that we get is when we're young, the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old type. And those are the programmings that are running us at a subconscious level. So in the work we do here, we're going to get into the subconscious and get down to these lower levels of the imagination and the intuition and the more exciting parts of the subconscious. And so step 1, this is 3 steps to eliminate stress, anxiety, and burnout, is to transform the mind. I was originally going to have this as train the mind. So my premise of this work is that pretty much all of our stress, all of our worry, all of our mental anguish comes from a state of judgment. So this is strictly Buddhist, to be honest. These are Buddhist teachings on some level, or mindfulness, that when what we're striving for is a state of equanimity, where we're free of judging, because it's when we're judging ourselves, even on a micro level, that this should be done, or this should be this way. We want something to be other than what it is, and we're judging it, and this is causing mental stress. So at the very, very, very core level, this is a blame and shame cycle. Now, I know these are big words to just bring up in this workshop, but remember, this is body, mind, and spirit, and I want to take you to the root. So many people right now are on antidepressants, are going to weekly therapy and have been going to weekly therapy, have for years, and are not seeing the transformations. And that is because we are not getting to the root level of the dysfunction in our society, which is a blame and shame cycle. We see it in our relationships with those of the opposite gender. And we see it in a lot of our religions. Even if you don't consider yourself a religious person, maybe you're more a spiritual person, you likely have ancestors that had religious dogma that push them one way or the other. And some religious beliefs are beautiful. I'm not opposed to any religion at all, just that we need to be aware of what is a self-limiting belief. And so the problem is the mind. I'm going to exit out of the slide. The problem is the mind takes over, and because of these programs of I'm not enough or whatever negative programming is so deep in us, it takes repetition to reprogram the mind. This just doesn't happen by making a choice. That's why meditation is called a practice. You don't meditate or do mindfulness or any of these kind of mind training things. You don't do them because they're easy or because you know how to do them. You do them because they're difficult. You do them because it is a practice of getting better at. And so when you do these practices to calm the mind, and there's many, many different ways, there's silent meditations. Some people get more into a movement meditation. And so I would like to share with you today a little getting into some beliefs. We're going to do a little affirmation audio because this is getting into the repetition. And this is one of the things that I offer a lot of is this mind training, that one of the most powerful vibrations we have is sound. The word, first came the word. And so I've made these beautiful audios so that we can all listen together. And I want to see how you feel afterwards. So we're going to just do a little interactive thing right now where I'm going to put on an audio of affirmations about finding our voice. Because at the end of the day, regardless of if this is your first workshop that has like a spiritual nature, or if this is like, you've been down the rabbit hole for years, repetition is the mother of all skills. And we are all trying to find our voice now. The greater your spiritual purpose, sometimes the harder it is to find our voice because we do have all these subconscious fears. Because once you get to this level, you start considering past lives. You start considering misuse of power. You start considering deeper things that are beyond this lifetime. And to get to that stuff, that's where you need this programming. So I am going to, actually, this has a visual as well. So I'm all about this multi-dimensional, I'm going to close this, open this window. I'm all about all of the senses, visual, audio. And so I'm going to put on this audio for you to listen to. It's 6 minutes, and there's going to be visuals with it that are sacred geometries. So you get to decide. You're going to hear me introducing this where it's about how you feel in your body. So I'm going to invite you to decide if you want to close your eyes or if you want to stare at the screen. I found when I've done this, looking at the screen, the visuals really do awaken a sense of a positive sensation in the body. And that's really what we're trying to go for, is how does my life feel in the body? So with that, I'll catch you on the flip side. Just enjoy this uplifting. All right, this will be just about a 5-minute affirmation audio intended to get you feeling good in your body. So what we want to place our attention on, whether your eyes are open or closed, it doesn't matter, but you want to try to feel the feeling. So for example, I'm saying I am fearless in trusting my true self. You want to feel that feeling of fearlessness. If I say you deserve the best, you want to feel in your body that feeling of knowing that you deserve the best. And as you do this more and more, it'll get easier. If you get distracted, you can listen to this anytime. So with that, let's go. You deserve nothing but the very best. Your voice is a beacon of light and positivity. You are worthy of being seen and heard. Your voice is powerful and impactful. You express your thoughts and feelings with clarity and confidence. You are so confident. You shine in the world. You show up and the whole world smiles. You trust in your ability to communicate effectively. You are connected to your highest self. Your words have value and meaning. You have value and meaning. Everything is working out in your favor. Imagine what you're seeking in your life. That perfect job, that perfect relationship. How does that make you feel? Tune into that feeling in your body of having everything work out in your favor, and now double that feeling. Double that feeling, feeling that joy and gratitude expanding out in that vision, and double it again. You are confident in your unique perspective. You have the bird's eye view and you know what's going on. You speak your truth with grace and compassion. Everything you do is making a difference. You make everyone's life easier just by being in it. You shine in the world. You shine in the world and you deserve nothing but everything you can dream of. All of your dreams are coming true with ease and grace. You are fearless in expressing yourself. You know your worth. You know your value. Your thoughts and ideas are important and deserve to be shared. Others want to hear what you have to say. What you have to say is important. See yourself standing in front of people, whether it's one person or 5 people or a whole studio, a whole TED Talk. How does it feel to be heard? Everyone is looking at you, completely engaged in everything you're saying. You are feeling so understood. Take that feeling you feel and double it. Expand that out into the universe. Let the universe know you want more of that. You speak with wisdom and kindness. You are opening to listening and learning from others. Your voice is a powerful tool for change. Your voice creates your reality. Your visions create your reality. You are deserving of respect and attention. You are confident in your ability to inspire and uplift others. Your voice is a source of empowerment and inspiration. Your voice is a reflection of your inner beauty and strength. You are fearlessly expressing your true self, and your voice is a powerful force for good in the world. Feel that sensation in your body of knowing everything you do is creating ripples of change, of positive change across the world. Take that feeling and double it. Your impact is expanding out through the universe, out through the cosmos. And double it one more time, expand it out. And please come back and listen to this audio often, every day, multiple times a day. Whatever you need to bring back to make this feeling of knowing your default And just know that that takes time. Sometimes when we first start hearing this stuff, it gets a little emotional. We actually doubt it. This part of us says, no, that's not true. That's not true. But it is true. And the more you listen, the more your body will start to know that this is your truth. Many blessings. Wonderful. Would anybody like to share a little bit about how that felt? I don't know pressure, but if anyone wants to raise their hand and come up on screen and share their experience with that. Otherwise, we'll just cruise on. All right. Well, I hope that you feel good in your body. I hope you found that uplifting, and remembering that that is reprogramming you. Oh, we got a hand up. Yes. I'm going to, I think, just do add this pin. Hi, Manny, welcome. Are you muted? How
Now
was
I'm not.
that for you? Tell me about those affirmations.
It was very powerful. It was awesome. Somewhere between actually between like third and the fourth. Like once I decided I want to do this with my eyes open, I settled in. Like around the third and the fourth, I got this like side load, not a download, a side about a challenge that I'm having. And long story short, like like it was my higher self saying to myself, from now on, you're going to tell this person, I no longer need your rules. Please stop telling me what your rules are. Um, and then I got kind of tangled up with like, whoa, where's that coming from? But by the next affirmation, I was able to catch on and stay on. And yeah, I felt really pumped, even though like the music was not pumped. I felt like inside.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Inside, it was like that root chakra drumming that was in the background of your audio. I had that root chakra drumming, but like techno, rave kind of.
I hear that a lot.
I was like, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
and
so
that's
thank
what
you.
it's all about, right? To find that I mean, because ideally, what we're trying to show the world is that we don't need actually all that fluff to feel good in our body. It doesn't have to be a banger. Like it doesn't have to, like it can flower from within. This is just the joy. And I think that's an important point, that this audio is about affirmations, but what it's doing ultimately is getting you into an alpha state. And in that alpha state, this higher dimensional wisdom that is your higher self, that is spirit guide, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really matter at this point, it creates space for it to come in. So it might feel like, oh, hey, I'm supposed to be like listening. It's like, no, this is all just happening as it happens. So thank you so much for your share. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, next up, we get to have a special guest speaker. So this next guest speaker, I met at a networking event not long ago, but there was a synchronicity where right away I knew when we met, because I like to do networking calls with almost everyone. And when we first met, she was talking about stem cells and all the science technology that was like, got me totally excited. And I was like, okay, I want you to speak at my, have a little guest spot. And I didn't even really know what she spoke on. But it turns out you're going to hear about these things called light wave patches, because we're going to go into the body and we're going to be talking about how this energy can transform the body. I can go to the next slide. And so first we need to remember that we're 99.99% empty space. We're just energy. So all of these technologies have a vibration, and she's going to explain the science. I'm just kind of sharing it in my way, because there's so many different spiritual technologies. There's just like countless. Acupuncture, we're going to hear about light wave. You've heard me mention Reiki. There's just so many. But at the end of the day, they connect with the energy of your body and raise the vibration. And so I had actually never heard of these light wave patches, but somebody gave me a bunch of them like a couple months ago. And I didn't use them yet because I didn't really know what they were, but I read about them and they sounded good. And so I was really excited when I met her, because she's going to give a little presentation on these and then in the work that she does. And it was very synchronistic. And that's another point about being aligned with your purpose. It's not really about what you do. It's not about your job. It's about the synchronicity and in recognizing that we are all part of a unified field. We are all connected. And in that connectivity, the magic happens and just little synchronicities that make life fun. So Miss Barb, here's your first slide. I'm going to pin you and I'm going to unpin myself. Maybe what I want to do is spotlight you. All right. Continue.
Okay. Well, thank you, Lynn. Wow. So much info and oh my goodness.
I know.
Lots
I
to
hope it's not
digest.
I hope it's not too much info.
Oh, no, I
have a vibe, and my vibe, I mean, we're going to talk about a little bit later this idea of being too much, and it is like my energy is a lot, but I know it's not too much, but I know sometimes it can like be like, whoa. So thank you for staying grounded and giving us this beautiful presentation. So take it away and I'll just switch the slides when you ask me to.
okay. Well, thank you so much. And it is cool, and it is really, I think everything should begin with curiosity to bolster our awareness of what's available for us. And so that's what I want to focus on in just a few minutes here to give people some tools. You can see some of my, on the bottom here, you can see some of my credentials on the bottom as far as how I've been in wellness for 43 years and just absolutely just barely. It's just such an amazing, amazing experience of what's going on right now. So we can go to the next one. Okay. So here is some really good, this was a Zoom done by Lynn McTaggart just a short while ago with Dr. Bruce Lipton and Greg Braden, who are really well known in the wellness and the cutting edge sphere of health, wellness, and being our best self. And this is what they shared, is that light therapy is where we need to focus today. And I a little at the end, I'll share on this 5-element support that we have a certain protocol to help people to help their bodies. Okay, so we'll move along here. Thank you. So it's interesting that this is not new. So here is the history of light therapy, and I know that's small print, so I won't expect you to try and delve into that. But this goes all the way back to 1895 for the first documented use, and it's the technical name is photobiomodulation. And in 1903, won the Nobel Prize for his research on using red light to treat tuberculosis, et cetera, et cetera. And that's, I mean, how long ago is that? But there truly was and is nothing new under the sun until we discover it at a cellular level. So again, this is the old news, and we'll go on to the next slide, which is the new news. And this is David Schmidt. He is a profound, amazing inventor, the owner of LifeWave, and the inventor of our affordable light cell technology. And he has been an inventor and a passion for it since he was 8 years old at the Thomas Edison Museum. And so just amazing work. But what's really cool about this, in 2004, he was hired by the US Navy to invent something that could help the Navy SEALs who were in submarines and deprived of sunlight for weeks on end. And at that point in time, he was able to uh, discover this little patch that actually converts fat into energy through the mitochondria of the cells. And that was way back in 2004. It got lots of flame because Coach Quick with the Stanford University and his swim team decided they were going to try these patches. And that was many, many gold medals. And that's how it became well known with Michael Phelps. And so, again, it started off as just helping these Navy SEALs to be able to have energy, to be able to function without sunlight. And you're all aware that when we go out in the sun hits our skin and the body has a chemical reaction that produces our vitamin D. Well, what David Schmidt has done with his ingenuity is he's invented these patches that use our own energy, our own infrared light that emits off our body that signals these patches to send vibrations to the brain, wavelengths that then set up a biochemical mechanism for the body to perform at its best. We have multiple patches for different modalities. The one I'm wearing right now is called Eon, and that's for the autonomic system to calm. So we're talking about stress today. We're talking about fight or flight. And so you can see I've got a patch on my body right now. And that is amazing how it reduces cortisol, calms the autonomic nervous system, and it is, for many people, instant. So it's a wonderful tool to be able to help with that. So again, lots of issued patents, over 70 independent studies. LifeWave is in 100 countries worldwide. And I am just in the process of heading to our international conference of 6,000 people to find out David's newest invention that is all on age reversal. And so it's going to be profound. So we'll move on, please, Lynn, to the next one. And whoops, I think, yeah, this is the key one I want to talk about. I've been trained with stem cells. In fact, have my story in a newspaper on natural healing with stem cell nutrition. And I, as a practitioner, I was absolutely thrilled to find a modality that would be able to support the body to be able to not only bolster our own stem cell, I call it an ATM, like we have an ATM of stem cells in our body. When we're born, we have mega stem cell. But as we age, when we get to that magic 30, the slippery slope begins and we produce less and less and less until you're like me at 76. There would be normally very few stem cells to work with us. And stem cells are a master cell. And so they can differentiate and change into anything. So it's quite marvelous when we have an injury, the body sends a stem cell. And at that point, goes to that place. Let's say you've injured your knee, goes to that place and calls in the stem cells, and they morph into what they need to be, whether that's meniscus or muscle or barley, whatever it is that's necessary. But so it's really key, as you can see, the less cell activity you have, the faster you age and the slower you repair. I loved how Lynn's been talking about what is our purpose? What is our why? And for me, my why is really with 43 years of training, I want to take that, and especially with this kind of research, because I knew that science doesn't stand still. And David Schmidt is inventing more ways to use this type of tool, light therapy, to actually help the way we address aging. And I'm finding, maybe because of my age at 76, there's a lot of my peers that are really living in fear. They're living in fear of the what ifs. What if I fall? What if I this? What, and they think in terms of, well, I'm just going to get that because I'm aging. That is not my belief. I believe we don't have age-related diseases. We have lack of stem cell diseases or reactions because we don't have enough. So if we can find a way, and we have found a way, to be able to support the body to not only ignite the stem cells we have, ignite the growth of master cells, and be able to have those available, we have such a better chance at supporting all the conditions that we're against. And of course, right now, my prayers go out to all the Floridians with all that they're going through. But I know David Schmidt has just committed and sent $250,000 for support in Florida, and to be able to help that, as well as he's invented a drone to be able to drop supplies and carry 200 pounds of them at one time and clean the air at the same time. So I digress, but what I really appreciate is being able to offer a wearable patch. Not everybody can go for $25,000 for stem cell treatments, usually in Panama or out of the country. But here we have an affordable source. So yes, can we move on? So anyways, just want to, Lynn's going to put my information in the chat, but we're really looking forward to sharing with you the 5 Elements program to be able to support you and have some tools to help, especially with finding your purpose, finding your joy, and your joy in the journey. Thank you, Lynn.
Did you want to say anything about this slide?
This is just a capture that's on our website that shows you all the different things that the light therapy patches work on. And so whatever it is, whether you're doing, hanging from bars up in the air like Lynn, or whatever, you have an opportunity to have that for support. So thank you.
Thank you. So let me get me up here too. Thank you so much, Barb. That was great. And I'm excited to actually try these. I have that Eon one that you mentioned.
Yes.
So I dropped a whole bunch of stuff in the chat, and you just at the very end mentioned the program. Is there, I'm sure that'll be on the website, that 5 Elements.
They'll need to connect with me. They'll need to reach out to me, and I'll certainly send that along with all my mentoring as well.
Awesome. So all the links there in the chat. Thank you so much. That was really, sciencey, and that's what that's what
you like.
Yeah, exactly. We have to understand that the body is the most amazing technology that we have. And so the whole premise of this work is the inside is the outside is the inside. And so as you said, when we focus this energy and, as a spiritual guide, the light is really on me right now. I'm in front of a window. I didn't know that it would be this, but the light, right? You're taking in the light, you're embodying what I call your Christ consciousness, your Buddha nature, your highest self. So this idea of bringing in light really resonates with me. So hopefully that resonated with other people as well. If you're looking for a boost of energy, those might be the way to go. And so we are going to continue on. That was kind of the introduction to talking about the body, right? So that's step 2, is to transform the body. And so there's a little picture of me before. You can see that I certainly have transformed my body. And so in this part, we're going to cover this really quickly because, Barb already spoke a little bit about it, but she mentioned the fight or flight. And that is a key core thing that we address in this work. Scarcity, lack, aggression, frustration. So raise your hand, put a yes in the chat, put a money sign in the chat if you are a person that worries, wonders, contemplate, puts a lot of energy towards making money. Because it's great to make money, but the problem is often it is rooted in a core belief or imprint of lack and scarcity. So this whole money doesn't grow on trees, all of this sort of programming that we have can create this idea that we have to work. So scarcity and lack, I mean, there's plenty of people that have a lot of money that live in scarcity and lack, and they get the burnout. They work. Anger, frustration. So I used to grow up hearing, don't cry, I'll give you something to cry about. I grew up with a frustrated, aggressive parent, which was very common in the 90s or in the 80s and in the 90s. And so this carries over work. Like put a coworker in the chat if you've had an aggressive coworker, or maybe sometimes you are the aggression. When deadlines are coming, when things are getting tight, the people get frustrated, we get frustrated, and we kind of can blow up in many ways. My example, when I was this person you see in this picture here, I would hold on to stuff because I was told, don't cry or I'll give you something to cry about. So for months, my stresses would pile up until one day something would happen and it would just overflow. I would end up, just having a complete breakdown, like crying or whatever. This was back in my college days. And so the idea is when your purpose and profession are aligned, the abundance is flowing, you have enough money to do the things that you want to do, and you have this inner sense of purpose, right? Time is a very important element in all this. This idea is if it's always just work for money, where do you spend time on your body? And so the transformation of the body is threefold. One is movement. I'm a dancer. I move to get money, to get energy out. But it's funny what I just said. I move to get money. I don't really move to get money. I certainly perform and sell tickets, and that's a huge part of my purpose. But it has not been, having a theater nonprofit is definitely not the most financially abundant. However, the joy that I get in my heart from seeing what happens on stage far outweighs all that. But so the movement is, I do a little kung fu, tai chi, so we can move the energy through the body through ancient techniques, yoga. And then once you really start to embody these, when I'm dancing, I'm actually mixing in a little yoga and a little tai chi or a little kung fu. And so I'm using the meridians, I'm opening my body. And through that process, and earth wisdom. So I'm not going to go deep into this, but food has a lot to do with it, like understanding the plants, spending time in nature, and coming back into a more natural state of being. And then finally, the energy medicine. And that's how I went from that to that. Whoa! So this is what it is to live in your purpose, where you are financially cared for, you have all the physical resources you need, and there's this part of making a difference in the world. And I'm not just the performer, right? I am a spiritual guide. And to be a female spiritual guide in 2024, trust me, that energy that you see in that photo, it's yes, I'm the sweet Midwest girl, but or girl next door, but there's definitely a warrior that has to be birthed forth the body in order to get to this alignment, to get to this promised land, because the world is a dark, dark place, right? The physical environment that we're transforming has devolved. And so this is the work that we're doing to bring more abundance and more lightness, less aggression, less frustration, right? Less of these very patriarchal, capitalistic things. And we are going to fight for it, to bring it forth in our bodies, one by one, by one, by one, as a collective, so that we shine that light out to overpower. And then there's a tipping point, right? As we shine more, we give more permission for others to shine, for others to shine, to others to shine. And then we really do. We're well on our way to the awakened society that I know we are becoming. So we're a little bit behind. However, there's no time. I might go past 3:30. Or 4:30. I don't know. But this little symbol here, this little lady, means that there's a break happening. And what it's going to be is a dance break. I have just a 2-minute royalty-free song, so it's not a banger necessarily, but I really want to invite you guys to stand up and just move in your body. And, it's kind of like some lo-fi down tempo, and see if you can find that joy in the body. Because regardless of what you have going on in the world right now, regardless of what level of stress you have, and like, oh my God, this was supposed to end at 4:30. She just said she's going to go, blah, blah, blah. I don't have time, because there's a part of me too. I'm like, oh, I should just cut out the dance. There's not enough time. No, there's 2 minutes. We're certainly going to dance, because that's what we're here for, right? The joy. So I'm just going to put on a song, and I'm going to invite you guys to stand up for just 2 minutes, because I'm going to ask you to kind of take note in your body right now. Like, how is your body feeling? Are you feeling a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4? And in terms of, let's say, your joy and openness. And then we're just going to put on a song. It's a 2-minute royalty-free song. I invite you to move. I invite you to stretch. I'll maybe give you some guided movement, but it's really not about, dancing. It's just moving. You can even stay seated if you want. And let's just move for 2 minutes and see what we can transform in our body, shall we? So this is called Morning Thoughts, and I thought it was kind of a fun song. When I put it on, I felt a little... I know a lot of people in this world, they kind of like lubrication. Yeah. So I'm just going to stand up and dance, and hopefully it'll inspire you to be like, actually wiggle your body a little bit. Here we go. Nobody has their cameras on. There are people here in the room. There's nothing to do with this on right here. Bounce. You're cool and snap. Everybody do the robot. And now shake like a crazy person. Yay! Quick little minute. So that was 2 minutes. Let me see. Just kind of take, how do I stop that? The sun is like right up in my eyes now. That was 2 minutes of movement. So can I get a chat? Maybe just write 2 numbers, how you felt before you stood up and danced for 2 minutes, and how you felt after you stood up and danced for 2 minutes. Because the point is, that's how quickly you can shift your energy. That's how quickly, and that's just like a random song that doesn't even have lyrics. Like if you pick a song with uplifting lyrics, it's even more going to take you higher, higher, higher. So I invite you to dance more, to get back into your body, just to feel good. So simple. Okay. Let's move on. We had that little moment of community. Okay. So yeah, ask yourself this question. What do you need to change so that you can give yourself more freedom to move and expand? Because maybe you were a person that whole exercise, maybe you felt it was entertaining to watch me wiggle around. But and if that felt good in your body, if that made you feel good in your body, that's amazing. That's why I do what I do. However, the next level is to find out what it is within you that could possibly allow you to find that freedom, because it's only in me, because it's also in you. So just to reflect on that, allow the answer to come. All right, step 3 is to transform the spirit. So I truly believe that our biggest issue in life, and the sun is full on in my face right now, so I'm like sun gazing, it's all good, but I don't know if I'm squinty or not. But the idea is it's disconnection. We are disconnected from each other. We're disconnected from who we are. Isn't it Plato that said, know thyself? And the truth is, every one of you is more magical and more powerful than you can even conceive of. And what has happened is lower vibrations on the planet have disconnected us from this higher self. And this is why we need community to come together with intention to create the magic that we know is available. And when you are awakening on any level, and that word might be new to you. Like I've been using the word, I've known that I've been awakening for 15 years now, so it's very comfortable. You might just be hearing this word and something in your mind is like awakening. Like allow this to be the reminder that yes, you are awakening. What is happening is, remember, our third quality is spirit is real. And so spirit has an evolution that is happening. There are prophecies that have been called upon, and they are 100% playing out. And those of us that are on the leading edge that have been doing this a while, we see it. And if you're just coming into your leadership, you're possibly feeling some anxiety, and you think it's because of what's happening at work or what's happening in your family, and there probably is real life stuff shuffling around. But I promise you, on the deepest level is that there's this complete unknown train coming that is this connection to your highest self, that is the rebirth of the second coming of Christ consciousness on earth through the individuals, through all of us one by one. And it is going to be quite magical, but the journey there is a trip and it can be scary. And so just remember that what you're seeing on the outside world is, when you fully embody this authentic leader in you, you can be that calm in the storm. You can be that one. You might even be a whistleblower of some sort, like calling out what's not working in the world in your sphere. And that is you being on the cross and completely surrendering to the truth, because this is what we're here to do. And the good news is the hard stuff's already been done. Like we, in 2024, the awakening that we get to go through is going to be easy. And it is because other spiritual leaders before have carried a lot of that heaviness. So with that, I want to just share a quick testimonial, and then we're going to wrap up. So we are going to go probably just about 5-10 minutes over my 4:30 mark. I do apologize, but it is what it is. So this, like I said, I have this purpose embodiment method, and it has served many people in many different ways, but at the core, it addresses the body, mind, and spirit. So it's bringing more calm, more ease into the body, more clarity in the mind. And then those of you, like Manny, who's already on a spiritual journey, it brings that spirit and even more. It takes you to the next level where you're able to download or side load, whatever the case may be, higher versions of yourself that may have taken you much longer to access if it weren't for help, assistance, community. Anyway, here's what some other people are saying about it.
Super simple question. How did you help? I mean, how did you not help is probably a better question. I knew that I was the struggle, but I couldn't figure out how to do it myself.
So I didn't know the beauty that would come out of learning how to release those, that feeling of calm and connectedness inside the body, because I'm a head-based person. By feeling, I mean the sensory experience, not just the emotive experience. I feel more calm and centered when I'm faced with the challenging dynamic.
And start to let myself become more free and accepting of myself through the program.
I began to see relationships with my children changing and evolving. I started noticing that those one-word answers were turning into sentences and then pretty soon conversations. And so this was a very authentic process or a holistic process, I guess, that just, I think, really opened up space for my children to come in and be their authentic selves, because I was in a different space while I was working with Lynn.
Being able to set boundaries in my romantic relationships, that's something where I've really seen a difference.
Blessings have come in ways that I would have never expected.
I was not totally in alignment with myself. I'm just feeling so much more like myself and excited about what the possibilities are for me, feeling more connected to spirit and just getting more of a sense of alignment with my purpose in a more specific way than I had been before.
I just feel like, having worked with you for the 4 months, the shifts were subtle, and then all of a sudden you realize, okay, wow, things have changed. It's just the way that I react differently, how I feel a lot more calm, how I'm able to shift my energy more effectively. Just
really bringing me back to me. It's really the reminder to take that moment and just sink in for yourself. All these other people, everything I do is serving other people. But what am I doing for me? And this time out has really brought me back to that, so that I can come back to those things charged, ready to serve at a greater place.
I left every session with feeling like a whole new person.
What's really going to do is pave the way, not only for the future of our relationships, but as Lynn and I were talking earlier, as well as for my grandchildren. My grandchildren will potentially be able to have different relationships with their parents, as well as a different relationship with myself, because of this work.
Using a glitchy old computer, sometimes you need to upgrade the hardware, and sometimes you need to upgrade the software, and sometimes you need to upgrade a little bit of both. So I love that you were kind of my guide to be upgrading my software, getting rid of the old glitchy software, and installing new and better software.
What Lynn does is really it's following a particular structure and sequence, but it is exactly channeled for you and where you're at, what you've gone through, what you need. So I highly recommend.
Woohoo! Highly recommend. Yes. All right. So those are some of my past clients that I've worked with, really different experiences across the board. It's really hard to say everybody's spirit is so unique, but we are community. We are a star family. Everyone watching this right now, regardless if you're watching it live, whether you're watching a recording, whether you're watching it in the future in the Cosmic Rose community, we are connected by this cosmic web. And so the awakening is unique for every person, but the benefits are just overall goodness. It's all overall higher vibrations. And so what you're going to get when you start doing this inner work, and again, this is not just about the purpose embodiment method. This is the light wave technology. This is if you just decide at some point in time to get a Reiki initiation on yourself, or any sort of step in the path to attending to your body, mind, and spirit, is a step in the right direction. My work specifically, you're going to find you have more power, passion, and purpose, right? These are the P's that I like to talk about. And you're going to have more power over your mind. So your thoughts and your actions, and you're going to feel like you have more control over your life. Right now, your emotions and what you're feeling in your body and your thoughts are controlling you. Something negative happens and it can spiral for hours, days, weeks sometimes. And so when you are aligned, you have the power to kind of shut it down and allow the truth to come through and just trust a little bit more. You're going to feel more passion in your body. Now, this for me comes as the sense of safety and comfort. Again, we're talking about this fight or flight. So for me, it's passion as a dancer. You might find you just like to go out hiking more. It's like whatever you're doing with your body is filled with more passion. That includes intimacy with others too. So you have a sense of belonging in your body. And what this brings is professional alignment. What you're doing, you're passionate about. It doesn't mean that your day job, you necessarily feel like, oh my God, this is like my purpose in life. Because your purpose in life might be to go hiking with your family, to create a legacy that's outside of your profession. But that sense of alignment with your profession is still there. So that makes it a part of your purpose, but it's more of the purpose is more of an inner quality. And that is the important point, is the first we tend to this inner purpose, this inner quality, and you become more aligned with your spirit. You're connected to what you can call divine mother, I am presence, creator, God. At the end of the day, you are embodied, right? This is embody your purpose. So you are embodying every session, every patch, every little step you take. You're downloading a slightly higher version. You're upgrading your software until you are the leader. You are the queen bee in your circle. And so that's what we do. We work with beliefs, we work with earth wisdom, and we work with energy. So here's where I would like to offer an invitation to work with me or to speak with me a little bit more. This is called a purpose clarity call. I'm going to pop out of this slide and then I'll pop back into it because I just want to really connect. So this purpose clarity call is really just an opportunity to get on the phone with me for about 30 minutes and I want to hear your story. I want to know a little bit about you. I want to learn what your hopes are, what your dreams are, and what your challenges are. So this is about getting you from A to B. And I may just have a couple tips that are going to help you along the way. And of course, yes, you've heard me mention that I do have programs, but it's really about you meeting you where you're at and where you need, because I have just as something as little as a Kundalini Reiki initiation for someone that's ready to hop on their journey, but really just wants to be able to do this energy work on yourself. It is a lifetime initiation that will change your life, and it can be a long, slow journey, but still you'll upgrade that system. And that's just a couple $100s. And then of course we have more in-depth 6-month programs for those that really want to do that deep healing, on some level shamanic changes. And so again, this is a purpose clarity call. I would love to talk to every one of you. No pressure. I'm going to drop this link in the chat. No pressure at all. It is not about you buying anything. It is really about finding your spirit and connecting on a really, really soul level to get you aligned with what you're here to do. So there is a QR code you can scan. And again, we are Star Family. I really, truly believe that if you are listening to this, if you've made it all the way to the end of this video, especially in this world of constant go, 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 you've invested an hour and a half into yourself. So there's something that's curious about this vibration that is being offered to you. And so I would like the opportunity to bring out that best in you and to see if there is a way that I can help you more and more and more get to that sense of ease, get to that sense of alignment, because it's not your purpose to be stressed out all the time. It's not your purpose to be worried all the time. And the thing is about this work is it's inner work. So in time, yes, the outside world will change and everything outside gets easier. But what we want to remember is we're 99% energy. And so when we start focusing on the inside and changing this inner work, the way we feel about the outside world changes first, and then the outside world changes. So my dear friends, I believe that is all we have. It has been my absolute pleasure to spend this hour and a half with you. And Barb, thank you so much for your words of wisdom and that amazing technology. Again, in the chat, you will see her contact information. And then to get a hold of me, I would again do this purpose clarity call. Again, it was my honor. Many blessings, you guys. I'm going to stop the live, but if anyone who's in the room wants to stay on and have a little chit chat, I would more than love that. So let me just quick pop over here and return to the live and say thank you so much to everyone in LinkedIn line. But if anyone who's in the room wants to stay on and have a little chit chat, I would more than love. Okay. Part A. Part B is to stop